Right now, we are on the verge of potentially one of the most crazy bugs or scandals in Destiny's history. If you are unaware, we're going to dive into a recent controversy which is kind of turning into a massive scandal, or at least it has the potential for one. And player engagement is one thing that has been on the minds of a lot of people recently, simply due to the fact that Destiny 2 hasn't had that much player engagement. And there are several ways that Bungie has tried to increase that. Now, this bug, which of course is related to the perk rolls and perk weighting, could be seen as a way to subtly increase that playing time. Now, I'm not accusing Bungie of doing it for that reason. In fact, the Destiny 2 team Twitter account came out and said that is not happening, and that if there is an issue with perk weighting or certain roles dropping, that it is not intended. While that is encouraging, there has been some research done over the last week or so, and even further back than that, that seems to provide evidence, or at least rather some evidence, of the perk weighting existing, or at least that something is going on. I'm going to reference a lot of work done by Wo on Twitter. I will link his account as well as the resources that he, or at least some of the resources he's used throughout the journey to try and get data behind these perk weighting issues. Before I talk about anything else, there was an update tweet from the Destiny 2 team that I'll show right now. It reads as follows. Regarding further reports of perk weighting, while we have confirmed that there is no intentional perk weighting on weapons within our content setup, we are now investigating a potential issue within our code for how RNG perks are generated. Many thanks to all players who have been contributing to data collection across the community. This data has been monumentally helpful with our investigation, and we are currently working on internal simulations to confirm your findings. We will provide more information as soon as possible. So, a lot of people were like, tinfoil hats, the community is on a witch hunt. And of course, this brings up just a lot of controversy in general, because there's the whole crafting versus being able to chase weapons like this. And, the results for at least chasing the VS chill inhibitor isn't great. And this chart I will show you now is very much some evidence of that. Again, sample size is definitely something to take into account here, but the role that most people are looking for is Envious, Arsenal, and Bait and Switch. And you can see throughout this data set that only one of those roles dropped. You can also see that 0 Danger Zone Explosive Flights dropped, 0 Rhyme Stealer and One For Alls dropped, and only 1 of Attrition Orbs Chill Clip, and 1 of Demo Surrounded. So obviously there's something fishy going on, and this kind of leans towards that. There are more data collection efforts going on. There's a website you can go to, link your Bungie account with, and when you acquire new loot based on what particular activity you're doing, I think over the next couple of days, it's going to be Trials loot and some other stuff. You can check out Newo's Twitter to see what that is, but you can slap that on and actually contribute to the data set if you wish to do so. And this is definitely a community puzzle that is worth solving, because if some kind of change can be implemented, that's great. And also, if it's a bug, people should not be going for Bungie's head, because this could have gone, or could be something that flew under the radar. And if it breaks the game to fix it, I think most people are okay with it staying the way it is. But then the whole conversation of crafting versus chasing comes up again, and that will obviously spark some discourse throughout the community. I, for one, am a person of belief that you can have both exist. You just have to do it right. And this bug, or whatever it is, obviously is inhibiting, no pun intended, by the way, it's inhibiting people's ability to chase this role. And it's quite annoying, to be honest, because, you have the chance of the weapon to drop in the first place, and then, if this bug or whatever it is turns out to be true, you have that working against you as well. And there's legitimately nothing as a player you can do about it. And it's another reason for people to not play Destiny. And it's another headline that people will point at and be like, why do you play this game? They legitimately, there's a bug that makes it so you can't get the desired perks you want. And it's kind of rough to look at this from the perspective of it isn't intentional, because Envious Arsenal and Bait and Switch is the best, at least damage-wise, role you can get. I, though, do thoroughly enjoy Cascade Point Explosive Light. That's a fun role as well, but from a DPS standpoint, Bait and Switch with Envious Arsenal is the best. So it is a little sus, so to speak, and again, I can't wait to figure out what is actually going on. I just want to make it abundantly clear, I'm not accusing Bungie of doing anything. I'm just looking at this data and all these facts, and it's scary. It's really scary. The goal of chasing weapons is to introduce fun new activities like the new Onslaught and the dungeon, which personally I'm a fan of, and people play it over and over again because they enjoy it, all whilst trying to get the god rolls. But if there's like a 0.01% chance or whatever it may be to get that god roll, it's like farming for an exotic. It might actually, under this bug, again, this is just speculation, but it might be harder to get this roll than it is to get the exotic weapon, which is not how that's supposed to work. It's supposed to be the other way around. And it might not make it so Bungie introduces crafting to these weapons, but they might decide to do something along the lines of introducing attunement or something like that. One of the more frustrating parts of this is that you seem to, at least for now, spend more time chasing your desired role than using your desired role. And that is supposed to be the fun in playing a game like Destiny, is you chase your weapon. Maybe it takes you 5-10 clears to get the one you want, but then you get to spend the next 5 to 10 clears, or maybe even more, enjoying that role, until you get the exotic or until you complete all the challenges and whatnot. And most hardcore players end up with 20 to 30 clears of a dungeon. Obviously the 1% might end up with hundreds of thousands of runs, but most people, I would say, end up in like 20-30 range because you get everything you need. But in this case, again, it does seem like it could be a way to just drive up that number and the engagement with the dungeon. So we'll have to wait and see before any accusations are made or before any of that, because right now this is something that's in the process of being proven. It hasn't been proven quite yet, but the findings early on are not encouraging in the sense that they do present some evidence. Again, not concrete, but at least the inkling of evidence towards the contrary of what Bungie is saying, which is that there is no perk weighting. Even if it is unintentional, it is still a massive issue and hopefully gets rectified immediately. But again, we'll see. Thanks for listening to my thoughts on this. I know content has been sparse on this channel. I've been taking a bit of a mental break from making videos, although as you can maybe tell if you watch my shorts, I've been trying to keep up with that stuff. It's a lot easier for me to upload that directly from Twitch. but these videos do take me a little bit longer just to make sure they're top quality, because obviously I don't want to just send stuff out there where you hear me like coughing in between audio cuts. Yeah, I mean, that's not great. Or you know, you might hear my cat sometimes running around, but yeah, that's why I cut stuff out, obviously. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you did watch to the end of this video, comment what your favorite weapon so far this episode is, and I'll see you guys in the next one.